Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sappers Unscripted. And yes, we have Mr. Burns back with us. He obviously was the whole brainiac behind the reason we have this. The Predators, we won Cape Town 10s. We are so grateful for Mr. Burns leading us to that. But yeah, guys, back to business. Sappers Unscripted, back in full flow. And today we're going to have some fun because obviously we're celebrating whole week long because we've won Cape Town 10. So let's just have some fun. So obviously, guys, as we all know, the rugby world loves it when people come up with some ridiculous opinions. And we love to call these things some hot takes. So are you guys ready to hear some hot takes that when I read today, I was just like, oof, they have a point or this person's delusional.
We'll probably agree with most of them, Brev, and you already know this.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, there's some here that I know Brett is going to agree with, and there's some that I know Casual's going to disagree with. So this is going to get spicy. But okay,
I just feel that me and Brett's going to disagree a lot on this one. I can already tell it.
Yeah, well, I've literally, guys, I haven't told these guys any of the hot takes, so this is literally they're going to hear it off the bat, and they're going to react just off the blue. So let's see how this goes. So first of all, we'll start off with one that I actually agree with, and I'm sure all three of us are probably going to agree, especially Mr. Burns. Pieter-Steph du Toit is a better player than Richie McCaw.
I'll go first. So for the last 20 years of my life, I have been the biggest anti-Richie McCaw person that ever walked this earth, and I've thought that he's been the most overrated people. I've got into a fist fight because I said Richie McCaw is not a good player. I tried to... Oh, my word. This is such a... I'm so excited right now. Yes! Pieter-Steph all the way. Yes!
The fact that you got into a fist fight about it means you're way too emotionally invested in it because Richie McCaw is the better player.
No way.
Because you have to take into consideration, right? It's the era. And when people talk about Richie McCaw being one of the best players to ever play the game and how he exploited the rules, yeah, he cheated, but he got away with it. It was up there for any other player to also get away with it. So I'm going Richie McCaw every day of the week, and you can't just take him as a player. You can't just take him as a player because he's got the biggest accomplishments in world rugby. He was leading the team in that dominance era. If you talk about the greatest team to ever play rugby, you're talking about the 2011 to 2015 All Blacks. And who led them there?
About the 2023 Springboks, so shush.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day,
I'm not going to disagree. That's where the casual bias takes over. But I mean, just to be objective about it, you can't put in Pieter-Steph as a better player when Pieter-Steph was injured for so long between the World Cups. And we all talked about Pieter-Steph maybe having to fall out and Kwagga getting that starting jersey. You can't just put him above Richie McCaw then all of a sudden.
I disagree. Purely on if we look at as a player, right? We're not looking at which team they played in. We're not looking at you can use accomplishments. They both won 2 World Cups. But if we look at player-wise, Pieter-Steph du Toit, for me, is a better defensive player than Richie McCaw, 1,000%. If you look at, I think the only place that Richie McCaw could have a better kind of viewpoint is at the ruck. It's the only place I can see him better than Pieter-Steph du Toit. On attack and on defense, I think Pieter-Steph du Toit is a better player.
So this is where I can't agree because at where I used to lose my mind was I would shout at the TV because Richie McCaw would often, I would see his knee on the ground and then he steals the ball and the ref would say play on, or like all the rules that can be broken. And people would often say to me, yes, that's what made him so good. So as every person in the world that unalived people and became world famous serial unalivers, are they that good because they never got caught? Come on, man. If you're breaking the rules, you're breaking the rules, whether you think that you're good at it or not. And yes, he was a master manipulator. That doesn't make you a good rugby player.
Brett, that's so irrelevant that you can't compare the two. He was a good rugby player, and he knew how to bend the rules a bit and get away with it, and that is what made him good.
Mr. Burns, I think we're on the same page. Yeah? I think we think Pieter-Steph du Toit is genuinely a better player. This is no disrespect to Richie McCaw. I think he's achieved a lot. But I genuinely just think Pieter-Steph du Toit is a better player. And Casual, obviously, with his name, thinks Richie McCaw. But that's a story for another day.
For me, sorry, last thing. You say it's no disrespect to Richie McCaw. I don't stand by that. For me, yes, this is disrespect to Richie McCaw. Because when I look at Pieter-Steph du Toit, I see him, the guy cries if he gets a yellow card. And Richie McCaw will give you that smirk like, yeah, I did my job. I'm a dirty player. I'm a rule breaker. I'm the bee's knees. The world's going to vote for me for player of the year. Yeah, that's me. Pieter-Steph du Toit is not only a humble player, he's a brilliant player. And Richie McCaw isn't even in the same WhatsApp group as him. So, okay, carry on. Move on. I'm done. I'll get into another fist fight if I have to.
No, just the fact that we as South Africans got so mad playing against the All Blacks just because of the impact that Richie McCaw had. Yes, he bent the rules. Okay, I get your point, Brett. But the fact is, anyone else that did it couldn't get away with it. That's what made him so good. The way that he approached the game, so sneaky. And I can't just look at him as just a player, because you have to look at his leadership, because that's what he brought on the field, made the players around him better as well. He was a good leader. If you talk about the best captains to grace this earth when it comes to rugby, you have to put Richie McCaw in there. And you have to take his team accomplishments with that. And I think he was far ahead of Pieter-Steph when it comes to the breakdown. Yes, Pieter-Steph may be just like that. Could be a better in attack and better in defense. But I just think if you take everything into consideration, you can't just wipe Richie McCaw out of there. I think there's a solid debate for Richie McCaw and Ardie Savea, and I would have easily said Ardie Savea is twice the player than Richie McCaw, and he could be up there with the captaincy as well, because that's a fair comparison in my opinion, because they played for the same country. I don't think they ever played together. They didn't play together at all. But I think that's a closer comparison than Pieter-Steph and Richie, just because of you can compare the things. I don't think Richie and Pieter-Steph is the same player at all.
Okay, while we're on this topic of captaincy, sorry, Brevin, I've got like 20,000 hot takes here, but I have a quick throw-in hot take here. Who do you guys rate as the best rugby captain ever to grace the planets of this earth?
John Smith.
No, I'm going. I always thought it was Richie, but I switched over to Sia. But this could be biased just because of the fact of him being the poster boy for South Africa, what he's done for our country. He's one of those guys that it's like the image. Like if you think about South African rugby, you think about Sia, you think about how he played before Sia came back. He's not necessarily the best player at the moment, but look how much our performances raised with him just being in the team. It just feels like he is the captain. He's got that aura around him. So, and he's got 2 World Cups behind his name as well. A British and Irish Lions, a rugby championship as well. So I don't think there could be any issues saying Sia might be the best captain to ever play. I'm not saying he's the best player to ever do it, but the best captain, just around with the aura and everything, I've got to throw him in there.
That's a good shout, but I again disagree with you, but not because it's just my opinion, not because of any other reason, but obviously in my generation, I'm a little bit older than you guys. It's John Smith it's not even, for me, it's not even close. And reason why I say this is because third test of the British and Irish Lions tour, John Smith went off while the Springboks were leading, and Victor Matfield took over as captain, and all of a sudden the Springboks were behind. And then there was a prop injury, and John Smith had to come back on, and he took over as captaincy. And then obviously we all know the famous kick from Steyn that won it for the Springboks. And when I spoke to Springbok players afterwards, they said, like even John de Villiers, when I spoke to him once at some function, and he said it's not even close. When John Smith talks, the coaches keep quiet. That oak is just, yes, I get Siya Kolisi with his aura and stuff, but in 2019, I didn't really consider Siya even as the captain, to be honest, especially when he went off with like almost 25 minutes left to play in the World Cup final, and he went off. not for injury, just because I felt Dwayne was the real leader in the team. So that's my reason for why I say John Smith.
What year did John Smith stop? 2011.
Yeah.
After that World Cup, you see, so it's tough because I hear completely what you're saying. But at that time, I was 11 years old, so it's tough to really understand the aura and the captaincy role that he brought. So when you say that, like, obviously, I know the stories about John Smith and everything he did. So I can put him up there with the stories. It's the same if you talk about the best wings to ever play the game. People could easily say John Olomu, but I didn't ever see him play, so I can't put him into that bracket. So it's all about perspective. So it's fully understandable that Brett says that I'm going with what he considers the best. In my generation, is just Siya Kolisi. That is what I have to compare to.
With that knowledge, why do you? Sorry, Brevin. Sorry. With that knowledge, why do you rate Richie McCaw over Peter Steph?
Because if I search for compilations, I see way more compilations of Richie McCaw being clutch than I see of Peter Steph, and I watch Peter Steph every day.
Peter Steph just needs one video. Just watch the World Cup final.
Oh, but yeah. But anyway, we're not going to agree on that one. But I get what Mr. Burns, what Brett is saying, because if you look at John Smith, and I love Siya Kolisi. Obviously, we had our doubts about him here and there, but I genuinely, I think he's one of the greatest captains in the game in general. I'll give him that. But the thing with John Smith is he just had such a good rugby brain as well. Like, he knew what calls to make and when to make them. And that's what people don't realize. That's what makes a really good leader on a rugby field, is knowing, okay, you know what? The 3 points are more important now, or let's go for touch. Or because sometimes we see the Springboks make the wrong choice here and there. Whereas John Smith was always just, he knew what decision to make. And like you said, like, people just listen to him. Even when he speaks on punditry, like, the guy's knowledge of the game is just massive. But like I said, Siya Kolisi as well. Like, obviously for me, obviously one of the greats. But now, this hot take, I can see this is going to spark some controversy. But this one's about our little French magician, Antoine Dupont. So this hot take says Antoine Dupont is already the greatest scrum half of all time.
No. Not even close. Not even close. How many Six Nations has he won? He won the one clean sweep, right? What else has he accomplished? How can you put him above Aaron Smith? There is no way on this earth. He's a brilliant player, okay? Don't get me wrong, right? But I'm not even considering him just for the fact that he left this year's Six Nations to go and play sevens. Like, that is just a slap in the face. So, no, Dupont, not even close. He's a brilliant player, but he's not better than Aaron Smith, who did it over years and years. If you think about prime Will Guinea, is he better than prime Will Guinea? Because he was absolutely insane. Is he better than Fourie de Pree? Fourie de Pree with the longevity, and Fourie de Pree was by a country mile one of the best scrum offs in the game, and he had to be compared to Aaron Smith. The fact that you're getting compared to Aaron Smith in Aaron Smith and Will Guinea's prime says everything that you need to know. There's no way on this earth that he's even the best scrum half, never mind the best player in the world.
Okay, so from my side, and this has become a trend now in this episode, that every time Brevin's mouth opens, Brett jumps in front of him and says random shit. So sorry, it might carry on throughout the night. But yeah, I 100% agree. I think a Peter Stringer from Ireland back in the day is better than Antoine Dupont.
George Gregan.
Yeah, George Gregan. This goes on and on and on about nines, but if you have to think of nines that actually revolutionized rugby as a whole, look at the team that were written off completely. 95, US van der Westhuizen, tackled Lomo with broken ribs. I mean, the list of nines in the world is so monumental that to put Antoine Dupont as the best nine in the world ever, that's clickbait gold, if you think about it. Because only people that are going to agree with that are nines that base themselves off of Antoine Dupont and the French, because nobody else is going to agree on that.
Yeah, like no one's saying he can't be the best to ever do it, right? But my apologies, Prevan. No one says he can't be there one day. But to compare him now already is a joke. It's a farce. Because people really forget how good Prime World Guinea is. He's not even close to what Prime World Guinea was, because World Guinea still had the longevity. How many years could World Guinea still have played in his prime? A lot. So there's no way that he's even in the discussion. Brevan, you can go now. My apologies again.
Yeah, basically, I'm going to repeat what you guys say. There's no ways you... Look, I have a few of them. Obviously, you have George Gregan, you have Fred de Pre, you have Yus van der Vestes, and you have Aaron Smith. Those are guys that you just cannot say that Anton Dupont is the greatest scrum half of all time. Will Genia, look, we can have a debate on that. I don't know where you're getting that from, but that's a story for another day. Okay, but I think we all agree on that one. We cannot say Anton Dupont is the greatest scrum half of all time. It's just ridiculous. I mean, people are already putting him in the GOAT conversation, which is mind-blowing to me. But that's just how it is, I guess, in the Northern Hemisphere, especially in the French camp. But the next one, Northern Hemisphere friends again. Casuals, next place to live, I'm sure. England, okay, they happen to have a fullback that they believe is fantastic, one of the best in the world. But this hot take says Freddie Stewart is one of the most overrated players in rugby, and I 1000% agree. I 1000% agree.
I fully agree.
I agree, but in a sense, I don't. Like, he's overrated, yes, but also he's a what's the word? He's a player that he can be a very, very good player. I mean, that game against South Africa, those high balls he took under the most intense pressure that you can get. There were signs. But then the very next game against Argentina, he fell back into his dismal ways. So to say he's the most overrated player is probably a bit far-fetched. He's not. He's fairly rated. I don't think he's underrated or overrated.
I don't see what else he brings to a game other than being able to catch a rugby ball.
Thank you.
I don't see what else he brings to the game. And yes, while he is probably the best in the world under the high ball, I'll give him that. What else does he do? You need to do something once you've caught the ball.
Brevan, thank you. You're taking all of it.
What is the role of a fullback?
Obviously, you got to be pretty secure under the high ball, being able to control the back, organize your defense at the back. And obviously, you have to be able to sometimes spark that something out of nothing on counter attack, organize your attack. I just don't see what he brings.
Yeah, so me neither. I don't think he's in the top 5 fullbacks in the world. And it's not even close. Like, seriously, this guy is so overrated. The way that English fans rave about him is disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. South Africa have 2 fullbacks, both better than him. He's not close to Hugo Keenan. He's not close to Tomo Ramos. He's not close to Bowden Barrett. There is no way on earth that Freddie Stewart is one of the best in the world. Now, I'm not saying he's bad, right? Overrated doesn't mean he's bad. But he's definitely overrated. The fact that people see him as one of the best in the world is wrong, means he's overrated. There you go. Because he can't attack. He's way too slow. He doesn't sweep in the fence. I don't think he's the best defender. And every time people talk about Freddie Stewart, it's literally just about him being good under the high ball.
So what did the article say? Did it say that he's one of the best in the world? Because there I'll disagree. But I think that the way I've read up about stuff that's said about him, that I think that he's fairly rated. Like, I don't see him as one of the best in the world, but according to Borthwick's game plan, he doesn't want a fullback that can do the Vali Leroux that creates that extra man in the overlap. But that's not their game plan. When Marcus Smith plays fullback, then that changes. But when it's Stewart, that's not the game plan. That's not why he's selected. He is
And
selected.
that's why their attack is as blunt as a butter knife.
Yes, but that comes down to their 9 and 10 being poor. That's not their fullback's fault. Their fullback's job, especially in the Southern Hemisphere, is be amazing under the high ball because the conditions don't allow you to be a flaring fullback. That's the role of a fullback in the Northern Hemisphere. A Damian Willemse would do very well in the Northern Hemisphere because he's all good under the high ball, but he creates a bit more. But he won't do well in the English side because the English side, they are set in their ways like the ball's going to go there to the middle, then fan, play, boom, like that. That's just how it is. That's why Freddie Stewart's in that English side.
Yeah, I think that's very fair in the sense that where you're right, Brett, is, that's Borthwick's game plan, and he suits Borthwick's game plan to the T. Now, whilst we think it is the shittest game plan ever, it works for them. I mean, it worked for them against us in a sense. Obviously, they still lost, but it got them very close. But at the same time, I still think from an English perspective, they do think he is more than what he actually is. I really think that the English fans especially, they put too much, and I feel like this is an occurring theme throughout every player that breaks through in the English side. They put too much hype on this player. We saw it with Marcus Smith. We see it with Freddie Stewart. So, that's where I'm coming from, and I'm sure that's where Casual's coming from as well. But also staying in the Northern Hemisphere, guys, Hugo Keenan, right, Irish fullback, is already a miles by miles better player than Stuart Hogg.
No.
I know. I was like, that's ridiculous.
Stuart Hogg is Scottish rugby. This oak,
literally.
No, Stuart Hogg's gonna go down, and this is a take that a lot of people will not agree with me, but I've paid attention to Stuart Hogg over the years. Stuart Hogg's he's gonna go down on a very close, not to that level, but a very close level to Israel Folau on fullbacks. So no.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that Israel Folau is the GOAT of fullbacks in history. Nobody's better than him.
No.
Who's better than him?
Israel Dag. Israel Dag.
Israel Folau can tackle. Israel Dag can't. Oh, please. Please. It's not even a discussion. Dag doesn't even come into the discussion. Wow.
Yeah, look, well,
Dag Folau.
Israel Dag.
The thing
literally, he's the best 15 that I've ever seen.
No chance. No chance. Did Israel Folau also hurt your feelings? Is that why you're against it?
No, I rate Israel Folau. I think he was a brilliant player. I'm just saying Israel Dag was better.
No chance. There is no chance.
And Stuart Hogg was a good player, but he doesn't get close to what Israel Folau or Israel Dag was. I think he was a great player. But those guys have team accomplishments, personal or individual accomplishments. There's no way.
If you put Stuart Hogg in a team, in that All Blacks team or in a Springbok team, I promise you we'll be talking about one of the greatest fullbacks to ever play the game.
Amen, brother.
No.
I agree.
My, do you understand? Like, you have to understand.
You can't say Israel Dag has team accomplishments. We're not talking about teams now. We talk about individual brilliance, like players that can spark like a lot out of nothing. And Israel Dag wasn't that player. Israel Dag.
Oh my word, Brett. Brett,
no,
that is a shocking take. That is not even a hot take. That is shocking. You want to tell me Israel Dag couldn't create something out of nothing while he did it against us?
Tell me what did Dag do better that Israel
couldn't?
Huh?
Goosey.
A proper goosey.
No, Israel Folau was great at the goosey.
I just like Israel Dag more. I think he was absolutely brilliant. I feel like you're getting the misconception that I'm saying Folau was shit. I think Folau was brilliant. I just feel personally that Dag was better. And I think you're getting emotionally invested in this, Brett.
I am.
So are you, buddy.
Israel Folau, there's no fullback in the world that ever comes close to Israel Folau.
Well,
But
then
this
fair
is the-
enough. That's
This
your
is
opinion.
the beauty
But
of rugby.
But to put up Stuart Hogg in the same bracket as Folau and Dag, in my opinion, is blasphemy.
I didn't put it in the same bracket as Dag. You did. I didn't even mention Dag. You mentioned Dag. Why
are
would
you
I
saying
mention
Stuart
Dag?
Hogg is better than Israel Dag?
Christian Cullen was better than Israel Dag.
Well, my father is a massive lover of Christian Cullen. He says Christian Cullen is the best 15 to ever play the game. So I haven't watched him, so I can't have an opinion on it.
And then Israel Folau came along.
Well, fair enough, Brett. I'm not saying you shit. I literally just told you I love these rugby.
Brevin, please save us here and carry on to the next topic.
Yeah, we're going to the next topic.
I'm starting to twitch here. So for the people watching, the three of us, I don't know if you mentioned this in a previous episode, the three of us only met for the first time on Saturday that passed. What was the date? The 4th of Feb, 3rd of Feb, 2024. The three of us met for the first time. Well, not Brevin and I, but with this oak. Then now he thinks he knows us, and now he's giving me attitude. So please, Brevin, move on.
Okay. So this one, as we all know, we have some pretty big bottlers in the Northern Hemisphere. And we tend to think that it might be the Irish. I mean, that's just a fair take, I guess. But this take says France are the biggest bottlers in rugby history. This one I can't agree with, because I think France are the biggest overachievers in rugby.
I think this stems from that stat that came out with the teams that lost the most to the team that ended up winning the World Cup. I don't know if you guys saw that stat. I think they've lost about 7 World Cup games, like where they've fallen out against the team that has eventually gone on to win it. So I think that's where it stems from. I agree that I think it's probably Ireland, just because of how good they've been in patches between World Cups, but haven't been able to do it in the World Cup yet. I have to put a caveat after this one, because I don't think they bottled it this World Cup. I just think they lost to the better team, because they were absolutely brilliant in the World Cup. And that's not to be biased or anything. I do truly believe Ireland were deserving of at least 3rd and 4th place playoff. So I won't throw this in the bottling thing. But definitely with the World Cup before that, where they lost to the All Blacks by about 40 points in a quarterfinal, that was disgraceful. That's a proper bottle job. And then obviously you have to throw in England in there as well. I mean, they've literally lost the World Cup to South Africa 3 times. That is a bottle job as well.
Yeah, so France, I think it comes down to it because Ireland's not even in the conversation because they don't make it to the semi-final. So I think that's why they're not in the, if I'm judging by that article you're talking about, I think that's why Ireland wasn't mentioned and France was, because France has played in 3 World Cup finals. Literally 3 finals. And
that's why I call them overachievers, because France, if you think of rugby, you don't think of France as, rugby. You think of football. You don't really think of rugby. Like, obviously it's starting to grow and it's starting to get bigger there now. But they have been competitive in the sense that they've got themselves to a final. They've been competing with sides that may not have had the right to be there in a sense. So that's why I cannot say they are the biggest bottlers. I would also say it's Ireland because, I mean, they literally had that number 1 status now for 2 World Cups and they get knocked out in the quarters. And that is a bottle job, in my opinion. But this next one, guys,
I haven't given my opinion.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Go for it. My bad.
So I think that it's a tie between France and Ireland. The more that I'm thinking about it now, I do agree, because that 2011 final with Thierry Dusautoir led the French side. I thought France, they have it. It's a done deal. France is winning this World Cup. And I don't know how, but for 70 minutes of the game, they were over them, and then they just as if they gave up. And for me, that's also a bit of a bottle drop because they were so close. But obviously, it's 100% Ireland. Like, sorry, I don't know why I just wasted everyone's time now. It's Ireland.
Just quickly, Mr. Burns, who is your favorite fly-off of all time?
Johnny Wilkinson.
Okay, this person says Owen Farrell is better than Johnny Wilkinson.
No, that's ridiculous. Skip this one. It's ridiculous. I've given Johnny Wilkinson some slander in the past, but yeah, that's ridiculous.
I don't know. It's your fly-off, Mr. Burns. You tell us what you think of that ridiculous thing.
If that was the case, then Owen Farrell wouldn't have played over 25 tests at inside center. If you rate it as one of the best fly-offs in the world,
very good point.
You play fly-off. So no, it's not even. You can't compare the.
Yeah, I'm not entertaining it. Move on to the next one, please.
Oh, okay, this one's also gonna boil our blood again. Well, especially your guys, because you guys have a right to argue this. I don't, but you guys do. Leinster are the greatest club team in the world.
No, it's Crusaders.
That's 100% the Crusaders.
What are they even talking about?
Guys, wait. Did you guys see Munster beat Crusaders?
Oh, but come on. It's a friendly. No one has anything. Who cares?
That's not the point. The point is that Munster hasn't been good this season, and then they make this whole big thing about the Super Rugby champions versus the URC champions, and then Munster went and won the game. Anyway, it's not Leinster. It's 100% Crusaders. It's like the previous topic. We can move on from that. It's non-negotiable. Leinster can go suck it. If they were the best, they would have maybe played against the Crusaders in that game. But they didn't even win the URC, so no.
And the thing is, like, Leinster literally has almost a full Irish team, where the Crusaders don't have the full All Blacks team. They just always find a way to be the best. Like, every season you hear about the Hurricanes are going to be the best, or when Beauden Barrett moves to the Blues are finally going to smash every team because now they got Mark Talia and Beauden Barrett and Rico Ioane. Yet it's always Crusaders. And I think, you know what's a closer opinion? Crusaders versus Saracens, if you really wanted to throw it out there. I think that's a closer comparison. But it's still not close. It's still not close. The Crusaders are by far the best team to ever grace the planet of Earth.
Who came up with that nonsense?
I shall expose him to you I'll send it via WhatsApp because I don't even know who this is. It's just I found it on TikTok, bro. So
wow.
And I'll send you the profile so you can go comment how foolish some of these are. But this one happens to be my favorite or second favorite because Peter Steff is better than Richie McCaw. So this is the last hot take, and then we'll open the floor to anyone else here that has. But Maro Itoje is not even a top 3 lock in England at the moment. And that is 100% correct.
Amen.
What do you mean in England?
So, like in English rugby, he shouldn't even be on the bench for England.
I don't know too many of the English locks.
Good call. Chesham should be the lock with that other Okie man from Saracens. What's his name?
George Martin.
Huh?
George Martin.
With Chesham. Those should be the locks.
Okay, I don't know too much about him. So
look, at the end of the day, like we all know who Maro Itoje is, and if we're talking about players that are overrated, he's got to be in there. Very overrated. And the English will hate you for saying that, but it's just a fact. I just think, obviously, look, I haven't made my debut for the Springboks. I'm not an international, but I do play lock, so I have somewhat of a say. And I just don't think he's that guy that they think he is. So, yeah, that's my hot takes from this guy, or whoever he is. It literally doesn't even have a name. But that's hot takes done. Do you guys want to spitball some, or we?
Finn Russell is not a top 3 fly-off in the world.
Who?
Finn Russell is not a top 3 or top 4 fly-off in the world currently.
Yes, and I'll give you the top 3 currently, in my opinion. Well, this is going to ruffle up some feathers, but number 1 for me currently is Moni Leboeck. Number 2 is Jalibert from France. And number 3 is...
Richie
I don't
Mo'unga.
even know. No. No, Mo'unga.
Oh, we lost. Oh, there he is.
Oh, he left for a second and I got happy. He
No,
left for a
Mo'unga.
second.
Mo'unga in this World Cup for me was terrible, and he's not currently playing, so I can't rate him. I'm talking about who I'm watching this year since the start of 2024, and Moni Leboeck is back on his great form.
Well, we have to go past 12 months then, because you have to take everyone in consideration.
You didn't say that. You said Finn Russell is not currently a top 3 fly-off, and then currently is now from 2024 when it started. And
Okay,
I'm saying I agree with you that he's not. I don't even think he's worth mentioning. Like, why is he even a topic? It's Moni Leboeck and Jalibert, and that's it. Those are the only 10s that I actually enjoy watching currently. I'm a 10, so I'm old school. I sit down and I write notes of what he did at this point so I can implement it into my game. And everybody else is like, oh, I don't even have to waste my paper on this. So those are my 2 oaks.
That's fair. Did you have a hot take, Brett?
I did. I'm currently still reminiscing about winning the biggest 10s tournament in the world. This team won the Cape Town 10s, and that's all I care about currently.
I agree. We're the best, for sure. Okay, well, ladies and gents, thank you so much for tuning in to our hot takes video here. It got heated at some points, but as you can see, we're all 3 of us still mates at the end of this. So thank goodness for that. But guys, thank you so much. Nearly clashed heads. But okay, like, subscribe, please. Thank you. We really dig you guys. Thank you so much for all the support. We've seen some amazing growth. So thank you so much, guys. We will be back literally as soon as possible. We upload 3 times a week. So when you see us, get excited, because rugby's just getting started for this year. So let's get going, boys, and we shall see you later. Cheers.
Ciao.